Hi there, and welcome back to another tutorial. This is Kevin, also known as AKAAWOL. So today we're going to try something just a little bit different. Okay, so here's what we have. We have the bracelet I made in the last tutorial, and we have a bracelet with a design from a tutorial from about a month ago. This is one of the real easy ones. So my thought was, wouldn't it be cool if we started out with a loop, came down with this tube for a duration, and then put like this gem in the middle. Now the colors I've got for this is this. Should take it out of baggie before. This is a rainbow that is sort of not a rainbow. It's I didn't use the same kind of colors that you would if you were, say, teaching a preschooler what the rainbow is, right? But there's blue, there's a purple, there's a salmon instead of a red, there's a funky green, and then this sort of a pinkish thing is making up where the yellow would be. But there's 6 colors, 12 strands here, and so this basically is the same as what this was. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come down for a distance, and because it's a rainbow, I want to basically, this is only 3 colors here, right? So I want to have the other 3 colors flanking this. So 3 rows out puts us basically right here at this end of this diamond. So if we take the calipers like this, right, we can get the size of that. If we take that and we put it against, say, here, right, we can then count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 diamonds up to the top. Okay, so 7 is not easy to divide in half, but fortunately I know for this that as far as this coming around my wrist goes, there's enough room that I could put 1 more diamond in, so not a problem there. So I'll go with 8. So it'll be 8 diamonds come into this, and then 8 more diamonds to finish it off, and then it'll get the nice braided tails for it. Alright, so that's the plan. Let's get to work. Okay, so set up the easel here, got everything kind of sorted out. So you can see what we have is there's 12 little strands. We've doubled them up. So now we have the hot colors on one side, and we have the cold colors on the other. Hot being the red, orange, yellow, cold being the green, blue, and purple. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to start it off like we always do. Just make a little loop, come up through, and group the other colors for this side together. So the green, then the blue, and the purple will be the last. So that's this side. Then this side we'll get, first will be the red, and then it'll be the orange, and this other funny color that's substituting for yellow. Can't really call it a yellow, but close enough, right? Alright, so this time we're going to start with the colds. We're going to come across green, goes across the red, comes next across the orange. This is just the simple knot to the right. If you don't know how to do that, go to my website and look under the very first couple of tutorials for beginners. Because this one is going to be going kind of all over the place as far as how this gets put together, this will be listed under the more advanced tutorials, because difficulty wise, yeah, this one's sort of up there. That's not to say that you can't do it if you follow along and take your time. I'm quite certain that any of you could pull this off. Alright, especially if you just got done finished with that bracelet that was in my last video. If you made the little tube and you got through that thing A-okay, then this is just a natural progression into something a little bit more complicated. So there is our first little square. Now I'll bring the other one over, and you can see I haven't actually sorted this one out like I did the first one, so just take me a moment more to do that. And this time we're going to set them both up exactly the same. So I'm going to go with the green over it. Mind you, I'm just making one little loop here and then just pulling that green up and around the other two colors just to get a nice clean start. Do that again with the blue, and there's those three. I'll come over here, I'll take the red, and this time I go bring the loop over this way, pull that up and through. So there's the red, and then the orange. And again, this one will go just like the first one did. Just the same knot here that you would do in a candy stripe. If the candy stripe is going to the right, that is. Alright. So the green comes across. Next the blue. And then we will do the purple one. So now we have, once we have these two diamonds in place, we have to join the two together. Joining is basically how you can create a double wide bracelet, and if you join the other sides you can make it either a tube, or if you put just a whole bunch of them together, that's how you get a bag. So could you make a bag with a ton of little tiny loops like this? Absolutely. You would be in a really whole lot of loops. I'm not sure that that's something I would put together, but sure, it could be done. Probably be even pretty cool. Alright, so this next diamond is what goes in between, and that's going to be the hot colors, the red, orange, and yellow. And they obviously are going in the opposite direction, so you need to know how to do the left knot in order to pull this off. And then you're going to have to know all four knots in order to make that nifty little gem thing for the center. So, but that's getting way ahead of ourselves here. We're only just at the very beginning of this. I'm definitely liking the way that these colors are going. Something bright and happy about them, I think. Okay. And this one is the last of this diamond. The yellowish color, I guess. And that is as far as we can go on this side. Right? Anything more, we're just making a flat bracelet. So I take the clip off and I flip this thing around and kind of pinch it together so that way those two sides come together, and again it'll be the hot colors going over the cold. So this joining one here is obviously the one that you have to kind of watch for. don't want that to mess up, have a big gap or something. Okay, so across the green, across the blue, and across the purple. Again, you can choose any colors you like for this. You can do more colors if you want to make it bigger. You can do it skinny with single strands instead of doubled up. It would make it super petite, which of course would be very, very cool. If I was going to do something for, like, say, an infant, a friend had a baby kind of thing, I would definitely do it in the super, super tiny, petite kind of thing. It just looks amazing on their wrists to have all the details of what the grown-ups would have, but on a really small scale. Looks pretty awesome. And now just the yellow. Okay, so this thing is now completely joined, and at this point I will be simply trying to make this thing go 4 diamonds down, as we determined earlier about what was needed to make it, you know, come down to the diamond. So at this point I think we can actually speed this portion up, and I'll get to there, and then we'll go on to changing, we'll slow down and show you how I get the other diamond into it. Alright, see you in a second. Okay, so now we've got the 4 diamonds down, so that's as far as we wanted for the beginning part. Now we're going to work on to the gem part. Now I want the gem to be red, so I know that if I'm going to have the cold colors first, if I go with the green to the blue to the purple, the one after that would be the red, obviously, right? So I'm going to just take, I have half the colors on this side and half the colors on this side. So I'm going to do these both the same. I'm just going to wrap the green around, then wrap the blue around. Just make that nice clean start that we want for this. Then the purple, then the red, and the orange. Alright, let's slide this up a bit so you can see this better. Alright, then we're going to do the same with this other side. The green. And the blue. The violet, or purple, the red, and the orange. Okay, so how I'm going to start this is, basically I'm just going to start with 3 chevrons, right? Because all we're trying to do is just give the cold colors a presence in this little gem space here. So these just go all the way up to the edge. This is basically my 6-color bracelet size that this will turn into. And compared to that little tube, That's going to seem huge, which will make this a lot of fun. Okay. Green goes the other way. So far, I would argue that this is not so difficult. But I know that if you tried to tell me about this some 30 plus years ago, I'd been like, "Wah!" So, yeah, if you're freaking out, I understand. It's a lot to take in. I have a lot of experience. It's kind of gotten me this far, so. But if you can get the hang of this early on, who knows what you'll come up with later. You have some amazing stuff, I'm sure. All right. Okay, so the blue almost done. Get to the other side. Can't think of anything really much to share with you as far as this one goes. This is, I think at this point, we're pretty self-explanatory. It might get a little bit crazier a little further down, but I think this is relative. We're safe here, so. I'm not sure if you can hear, one of my neighbors fancies himself to be something of a carpenter. Not good at it at all. But he goes downstairs and he hammers away at stuff, and I can hear the little talk, 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 talk in the background. I don't know if that's being picked up by the microphone, but I can hear it. It's a little bit distracting. He tried to fashion a wooden seat to go onto his electric scooter, and he almost had the whole thing all put together, all the nails and everything, and I pointed to him that, don't you need to have the thing unfolded first? How are you going to get it to unfold when you already have the seat covering over top of where the handlebars and stuff are? And at first he kind of scoffed and acted like I didn't know what I was talking about. Then when he went to open it up, he realized that he couldn't. He had sealed the chair over the top of the whole thing. I had to take it all apart. So, an hour worth of banging nails in. Well, I'll take him back apart to put it back together. Yes, I still have a chuckle every time I think about that one. Alright, purple. Almost finished here. Kind of see that whole rainbow thing happening now, right? Although, I guess the rainbow kind of looks a little bit different when it's not in the sequence that you're used to. I don't think it takes it away from it being a rainbow. It's still all of the 6 colors, but never understood why science wanted to say that there were 7 colors in the rainbow. When you make a color wheel, it's obviously it's 6. They try to count purple twice. I think it was because there was 7 notes and 7 planets, and they wanted everything to make sense somehow, and so they tried to stretch a truth there. That's my guess. But if anybody actually has an explanation as to why they try to claim that there are 7 colors in a rainbow, I'd love to hear it, because it doesn't make much sense to me. There's more than one shade of red. Why not make it, 9 or 12 or something? I don't know. All right. So we have the red going all the way out to the edge. All right. And I don't know if you remember the other tutorial. You've seen that recently, but it's now that the orange will come and not go all the way out to the edge. And that's what brings us in. So up until now we are only using the right and the left knot, correct? Correct. But now when we get down here, we're going to make the purple bounce. So it's gonna go, hang on. So it goes to the right and then to the left. And that way the purple bounces out this way and the orange comes inwards. And we're going to do the same on the other side. Everything about this is an aim to being symmetrical. See, to the left and then to the right. Slide that up just a little bit there, and now to the yellow. I don't know if you saw that, but pulling that yellow nice and tight helped to reshape how the rest of the bracelet was shaping up there. Kind of pulls it all in, keeps everything nice and straight. So I know some people like to do really loose knots because they're afraid if they have to untie it due to a mistake that it'll make it easier for them. But a nice firm knot will help keep things looking really nice and clean. Alright, one green right in the center. And you can see now we have a little yellow diamond, or whatever shade that is. It's an interesting color, I have no idea. I just thought it'd be fun to kind of tweak on the whole idea of a rainbow. I have to admit, I do like the way they came out, so it makes for a fun look, if you ask me. Alright, so now go to the left and to the right. And then the red will come in and do basically the same in that little space that's left. So, left and right and back out. Off to the side. And the orange has room to come back. And a right and a left. So the yellow now can come out, and we can't quite do the other side until we get this orange and red over here taken care of. So let's do that. the orange comes out. We are so close to being done with this gem. I thought about speeding this part up, but I figured that this might be the part of this whole thing that people might actually have difficulty with. So I figured do this in real time, give you guys a chance to kind of see how this worked out. And then I'll show you how I bring it from this gem portion back into the little tube. We'll speed up that part, and I'll show you what we have at the very end before we close the video out. So if I've gone too quick, if I missed something, if there's some portion of this that you need help with, let me know. There's the pattern for this from the previous video won't exactly show the chevrons, but I really don't think that you need to have an additional pattern just to show you how to add a chevron. The only thing is you'd have to just think out the color sequence, which, as I've stated many times, that's half the battle. If you want it to turn out a certain way, you have to know how to set up your color sequence. Since I knew I wanted this to be red, I knew that I was going 3 before. I had to count my way across the color wheel to start at the green, to go to the blue, to go to the purple, to end up with my red to make the gem itself. Just knowing how to do that will get you really far as developing patterns. If you have the middle part of a pattern, say you saw a photograph or something and you don't know how to start it out, you can always use the graph paper. I have several different sizes already made up, so that way you don't have to actually go through all that much trouble. You could actually print those out and use a color pencil and color that in if you wanted to, right? So that way you could work out how to get a nice, sharp beginning to a bracelet, or how to get a nice loop on it. I see a lot of people trying to start in the middle and then put braids on the other side, and typically I think anybody with any experience knows that that's just a person who couldn't figure out where to start or how to start. And if you want to show excellence among your peers, having a nice loop with a nice clean start definitely shows that you have a little bit more experience and that you're trying to make it as nice as possible. Alright, so our little gem here is shaping up. I think the colors from this camera seem like the saturation is way up. Makes everything look a bit more shiny, more whatever, but hopefully that doesn't bother you too much, because I don't think there's anything I can actually do about it. Alright, so there's the gem itself. That was the bit, the red part there is the bit that's actually covered in that other thing. This is just balancing out the chevrons. Let me just slide this up a bit. I don't like when I work too far away from the clip. It just gets a little sloppy. So 3 more chevrons and we can get back to making the other side a tube. As far as this bracelet goes, I don't think this is necessarily a male or a female one. Rainbow can be for anybody. The gem portion of it, though, does kind of a little bit more of a feminine thing, I think. But it doesn't have to be. It's sort of still pretty neutral, I suppose. These colors are definitely playful, though. I like how it's a rainbow without being the classic one. Even the green seems like an interesting choice for this. Two more chevrons. So I suppose something like this, you could make the gem, make a smaller tube, make another gem, make another smaller tube, and then make another gem. And that would be a fun counterpart to this. If you were making this for a pair of friends or something, that would be a fun alternative. If I was going to make a his and hers, I might even go so far as to make the his with the 3 gems, and make the gems where they're the middle part here was done in the cold colors. So as a make a stark contrast kind of thing. And then just the green to go. So, if you guys have questions, now would be a great time, because I keep running into pauses here because I have no idea what to say. So if you've got things to talk about, like, you know, how to do something, or what do I do, or whatever, yeah, I could use those for my future videos. I don't know. Oh, I was just recently asked about the whole AWOL thing. Basically, I was in the Navy, my sister was getting married, my father had already passed away back when we were quite young, and I was supposed to give her away, and the military said no. And I was like, but I gotta give my sister away, and they're like, too bad. And so I went back to Michigan, and I gave my sister away. And I spent like 27 days before heading back. So they gave me the nickname. Alright, so there's our gem. And next we will bring this in. Okay, so what we're going to do, slide this up. And if you remember how we got the top up here to look nice, we're going to wrap the string, one string around each, well, now it's 2, and the purple will go around all 3, and this is how you get the nice clean endings, right? But we're going to do this so that way we can have a nice clean start into the next diamonds. Okay, and then this other side. It's just a single going over, and the next one goes over. And the next one. Next one. And the next one. I'm going to set aside those colds. I got these colds from over here. green over top of the blue and purple. Then I'm going to put the blue over top of the purple. So there's those three. Then I'm going to do the red over top of the orange and yellow. And the orange over the yellow. And I'm going to start it out just like I did the other one. And I'm keeping the same sequence as before to have a little bit of congruity. I could have reversed it to try to be more symmetrical, but I think I want it to kind of match better. So there's the green is across. Red, orange, yellow. Now the blue has gone across. And now we just have this purple. And now we have a diamond just like what was on the other side. Right? So you have here what you have up here. So now what we have to do is we have to flip this over and do the same thing again. So the green, get a hold of that. Green comes over, then the blue. Push those other odd strings off to the side for now. Red, orange, and the yellow again. Alright. Same thing as before. The only thing that's going to get a little bit more difficult, and when I say a little bit, it's a bunch more, is the fact that because we have that great big flat space, it's going to be harder to clip when we go to do put the hot colors going across. So at least for a moment it will be. Alright. Bring the blue across. And then it's this purple. So now we have to turn it. This is where it gets a little bit dodgy, I think. Maybe I can fold this a bit. There we go. Alright. You can see we're well on our way back to having another tube. The red comes across all three, then the orange, then the yellow. So as far as advanced tutorials go, I still say don't be afraid. Give it a try. I don't know how much it costs for you to experiment with something this size. I suspect it shouldn't be too much, and let's face it, if you succeed, the payout's pretty good. This is obviously a bracelet you can be really, really proud of. Okay, flip it to the other side. Yeah, essentially all I had to do was sort of fold the flat bit in half so I could turn it that 90 degrees to be able to get to these bits. Other than that, not too much to it, man. Whoops. Orange comes next. I don't know if it can really see it in the video, but now that these are going in place, that tube really just comes in right immediately after the flat bit. Like there's no gaps or anything. It looks absolutely fantastic. I'll show you after I get this row. Alright. So there we have it. It is a nice clean tube on either side. The edges around the diamond bit here, the gem, nice and smooth and clean both sides. That's going to look sharp. Alright, I am going to go back to the time lapse, hurry this thing along because we're already quite a long video as it is, and then I'll show you what it finished after we're all done. Alright. Alright, so is it as advertised? Yeah, this is it. So we were doing all those measurements, right? So is it one diamond longer than this one? Yep. It's a, let's see if we can kind of bring that in for you. Yes, it is just slightly longer. It has the same thing as this, and it combines the two together. Absolutely gorgeous. So absolutely, I believe this is something that you can make. It's it didn't take me all that terribly long, just a couple hours here in the afternoon, and that's with setting up videos and everything else. So it's a beautiful bracelet. I think that it'd be a lot of fun to see this in some other colors, maybe change out what this in the center looks like. But yeah, I'm hoping that you've enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope that you'll come back and check out some more. Maybe even give me some inspiration as to what you'd like to see done next. Alright, until next time, you guys have a good one, and don't get your strings in a bunch. If you would like to help support the channel and website, please subscribe. It's a really small act that would go a long way. I'd also encourage you to check out my website for more tutorials, patterns, as well as a shop. If you have any questions or ideas for future tutorials, please let me know. Who knows, if I really like the idea, you might just receive the bracelet that I make in the video as my way of saying thanks. So until next time, don't get your strings in a bunch.